Hello, my name is Curtis Dykstra, Parks Naturalist with Ottawa County Parks. The 2024 Coffee with the Birds Mug Club Photo Contest had 141 entries. With so many photos, it was a difficult job for our judges to narrow down to only 4 honorable mention winners and 1 grand prize winner, which would go on our 2025 Mug Club member mug. To highlight the amazing winning photos, we've interviewed all 5 winners: Ryan Bebej, our grand prize winner, and our honorable mention winners, Kevin Povenz, David Slikkers, Michael Bergeon, and Joseph Malott, asking them to give us a glimpse into the story behind their amazing photos. We'll start with the grand prize winner, Ryan Bebej. Enjoy.
My name is Ryan Bebej. I'm from Georgetown Township, and I took the photo of the American Avocet at the North Pier in Grand Haven. I took the photo on Wednesday, July 3rd, which was normally a day that I probably wouldn't be able to go out and do any birding, but I had actually just finished teaching a summer class and got my grades submitted the day before. So I felt like, you know what, I can take an extra day off before the holiday to get a nice long holiday weekend. And so I actually went out that morning looking for a different bird. Lonnie Garris had recently spotted a least bittern at Bruce's Bayou, and he'd posted some really nice photos of it online. And I think he actually submitted one of those photos for this photo contest. And that bird would have been a lifer for me. I drove up to Bruce's Bayou, and I stopped at 3 different places along the river there. And even though I faintly heard the bittern a couple of times, I never laid eyes on it. So I was a little bit disappointed, right? I was bummed that I'd kind of struck out on the bird I was looking for, but I thought, well, I don't get up to Grand Haven all that often, so why don't I just drive out to the pier, see if there's anything out on the water before I turn around and head home. And so I got there and parked in the lot at the North Pier, and actually first was looking at the purple martins that were there and took some photos of the purple martins that I don't see too much around my house either, before I headed out to the end of the pier and to the beach. And once I got to the beach, I just got my binoculars out and started scanning the beach to see what was there, and initially saw some spotted sandpipers, which I was excited to see. And then I even laid eyes on a willet, which was actually a lifer for me. So I went out looking for a lifer, didn't get the one I thought I would get, but ended up seeing another bird that I'd never seen before. And just past the willet, I spotted 2 American Avocets, 1 male and 1 female. I had seen them one time before, but it was my first time seeing them in West Michigan. And I knew that they do occasionally come through here periodically, but when people spot them, like in Holland, there's usually no way that I can get out there in time to see them before they would be gone. So I really just had to get lucky on this day. I took my binoculars down, and about 50 feet away from me on the beach, I see a dad, his daughter, and their dog walking north along the beach right towards where these birds were. So I won't say that I panicked, but I had a moment of, ooh, I've got to get in front of them so that they don't scare the bird away, so I can try to get some pictures. And so actually, I'm wearing my binoculars, wearing my camera, I'm kind of jogging along the beach to try to catch up to this father and daughter and saying, hey, can you guys wait up a second? And I got their attention and just explained to them, there's some really cool birds up there. I'd love to get some pictures before you go walking along with your dog. Would you mind if I get in front of you and just take a few photos? And they were extremely gracious and said that was perfectly okay. And they actually came up behind me then and kind of were watching the birds while I snapped off a whole bunch of photos there, as many as I could take, before I felt like, okay, I've got to let this family get on their way. But rather than them just running past me with their dog, they started asking me about the bird. And those of you who know me know that I'm a professor, I'm a teacher at heart, so I started telling them all about the bird and how we don't see them super often in West Michigan, and tried to explain what that long, upcurved bill was all about. And so we had a nice, really fun conversation there, teaching them about the birds, getting them excited about some of the things they were seeing for the first time. And then as they went walking along, the birds flew off. And the one that I submitted was my favorite of the bunch that I took. It was just a nice profile shot of the bird. You could see that nice upturned bill. You got some of the wave action sort of happening at its feet. So I tucked that away in my folder as a potential photo to submit for this contest. But in looking at all the different entries that were submitted this year, I am very surprised that my photo ended up winning, just because there were so many really great submissions this year. So just thinking back on that particular day and thinking about how initially I was really disappointed that I didn't find what I was going out for. But then I was rewarded by seeing something I wasn't even expecting to see, even a couple of different things with the willet there as well. And so that's just one of the things that I like to tell people, like, you always go out just because you never know what you're going to see. You know, so many times I'll be out birding have my binoculars up and a stranger will ask me, oh, like, well, what are you looking for? And I always just say, whatever's here, right? Because you just never quite know what you're going to see. And Ottawa County has so many great parks to visit. And I'd encourage folks to not only just go to the spots where you go often, but go explore. There are so many new places where you might see things that you were never expecting to see.
Hello, I'm Kevin Povenz from Jenison, and I took the photo of the barred owl chick in this year's contest. I took this photo at Hager Park in Jenison. It's about a mile from my home, so my wife and I frequently walk through the park. But on this particular Friday evening, actually, I came down to the ravines here to check on the eagles and met a few photographer friends, and nothing was happening here. So we decided that we were going to go to Hager Park and check on the barred owls that we have been seeing there. We met down by where we thought the nest was at, and we saw one of the eaglets high up in a tree, but not very photogenic. So then we saw the adult owl in a tree, and it wasn't moving at all. It wasn't afraid of us or anything, so we thought something was up, and we turned, and there was the owlet in a branch that was about 8 feet off the ground, and pretty good background, nothing obstructing the view of the owl. So it was getting late, getting dark, and we started shooting right away. And that's when I took the photo of this year's entry of the barred owl. Watching these owls for about 4 years now, and never really getting a shot of the owlet, I thought, I had something. But I shot the photo at 1/320th of a second, 4,000 ISO, so I was a little nervous on how much noise or if it was going to be sharp. And I took a look, and I was happily surprised at how good it looked, and did my work usually in Lightroom, Photoshop, maybe touch it up with a little topaz. But after I did my work, I was very happy with what the outcome was with this photo.
My name is David Slikkers, and I've been a lifelong member of the Holland community for over 70 years. And I had the opportunity to take the Dunlin at the Holland State Park, and I've been going there since I was a little kid. So being able to capture this bird at that location was a true treat. One of the challenges with wildlife, particularly birds, is their inability to cooperate. And so you need a fair amount of patience even after you spot one. It's now you have to go through your mind and finding out, okay, where can I sit, particularly in a limited environment like the pier. That's where I captured the Dunlin, was on the North Pier. And of course, if you've been out there, you know that it's not terribly wide. And of course, I wanted it in a very natural setting. I wanted it on the rocks alongside the normal channel pier because I just didn't want a cement background. I had to sit and actually observe the bird for quite some time just to see what his movements were going to be, and then slowly inching my way, sliding my butt along the edge without being in the rocks. So it was a challenging time. There was a few waves that made me nervous about getting wet. Didn't care to have a wet bottom. So after probably an hour, the bird got comfortable with me not moving and started to move around itself. In doing so, now you're looking for the right light, the right angle, so that the highlights of the bird's feathers can really be captured. We had a heavy overcast day, and so I was waiting for the clouds to move a little bit just to give us a little bit more light. I had a long lens, so I didn't have to crowd the bird or get the bird nervous. So made sure that he had enough space to do what he likes to do, and just you play it's a waiting game. But he was moving around the rocks. Sometimes he was half exposed, meaning I could only see half the body or half the front or whatever. So those are always nerve-wracking. You wonder, will he flush or will he, in fact, step up and give me a nice profile, give me a nice front view, whatever the case. But it's always a challenge. And it's that part of bird photography that I really enjoy. But I enjoyed capturing this Dunlin. And it turned out I didn't know anything about the contest. A colleague of mine mentioned the contest. So I reached out to Curtis and asked if that was a possibility, and here we are.
Hi, my name is Mike Bergeon. I live in Jennison. I took a picture of a downy woodpecker at Grand Ravines North. Grand Ravines, Grand River Park, and the Bend are my primary birding areas for photography since they're close. Interesting story about this downy woodpecker was I missed entering last year's bird contest because I was on a trip in Europe. And when I got home, I watched the winners and joined the Mug Club as usual. And then I was motivated to go out into the woods to take the pictures. So I arrived at Grand Ravines North, first birding trip of the year, of the Mug Club year. And I'm about 1 minute down the path, and this downy woodpecker lands on the sumac right next to me. So I took his picture, and it was really good pictures when I was looking through the camera because the background was blurred out nice and the contrast and colors between the bird and the background and with the sumac made a very nice picture. So I was excited, but I didn't think about winning the contest yet because it was the first bird that I took a picture of the new Mug Club year. But it turns out it stood up for the test of time, even though I took a lot of other birds during the course of the year.
My name is Joseph Malott. I am from Holland, Michigan, and I took a photo of a bufflehead at Harbor Island. So early in the morning, I decided that I was going to try to photograph a ruddy duck, hopefully in breeding plumage, and I know a good spot from eBird is to do so at Harbor Island. So I arrived early in the morning. I had checked the weather and the wind. It was going to be a nice, calm, sunny day. I was trying to get that golden hour lighting. And I set up just before sunrise. It was very cold, which is to be expected. I have a floating blind that I made with my dad a couple years back. The thing is amazing, and I had chest-high waders that I put on, and I got that all assembled, and I started to wade out into the bayou of Harbor Island, where there's all these great migratory ducks. When you're moving through all that muck, it is slow going, and I look ridiculous while I'm doing it. But most of the ducks don't seem to mind. And although I didn't find the ruddy duck, there were several swans that were being very photogenic, and there were these group of buffleheads that were swimming far out, and I slowly made my way out there. The bottom of that place is very mucky, so it was a little bit treacherous, but I was able to get just close enough to get some of these images. And with the lighting that was shining right into the head, I was able to get all the iridescent colors right out of that male's head. And most of the time, when you see these buffleheads, you've got it through a spotting scope. It's usually on a cloudy day, usually in winter, and you don't get to see the colors. But when you're out there, when you're close enough that the floating blind allows me to get to them, and you get the right light on there, you can see all the lights, the reds, the yellows, the greens, the purples. There's a lot of color, just almost a complete rainbow right in their head. And it's not every day that you get to see that. Once I got that, I was just ecstatic, as I usually am when I'm able to get a semi-decent image of a species that I've been trying to get.
I hope you've enjoyed the stories behind each of the winning photos. If you'd like to purchase your 2025 Mug Club membership, which includes the mug featuring Ryan Bebe's American Avocet photo, for $25, the most convenient way to do that is online at miottawa.org/ birding. You'll find the link in the description, or you can use this QR code for a direct link. Purchased mugs can be picked up at the Nature Center at Hemlock Crossing County Park. We've also created a 2025 calendar using both the winning photos and some of our other favorites. These can be purchased for $25 at the Nature Center. Lastly, I invite you to join us this winter for a Coffee with the Birds event at the Nature Center or live streamed to your home. For more information on Coffee with the Birds, the photo contest, and all things birding in Ottawa County, visit miottawa.org/birding. And remember, it's not too early to start taking photos for the 2025 photo contest. Photos taken November 1st, 2024 through October 31st, 2025 are eligible. Good luck.